Good day, everyone, especially to our professor, Dr. Manuel Ruman. Sir, today I'm going to present the topic about literature reviews getting started, the 5 step. But before anything else, allow me to introduce myself. I am Noraisa T. Raupan. So in this session, we will delve into literature reviews, which serve as critical frameworks for researchers. So first, we define what is literature review. A literature review is a critical foundation for any research project. And according to Randolph A. Taylor, in his book, The Taxonomical Literature Review, a literature review is a written overview of major writings and other documents that contain the most current thinking, factual information, debate, and theoretical contribution on a given topic. This highlights that it's not just about any writing, but specifically scholarly and relevant work. So here are the 5 practical steps involved in beginning a literature review. So how do we actually start in crafting literature reviews? So let's walk through the first 5 key steps. Step 1 is defining your research question or sharpening the focus. So the first step in crafting a literature review is formulating your research question. This first step is all about getting crystal clear on what you want to explore in your literature review. It's like setting the destination for your research journey. This involves 3 key interconnected parts. So the first one is identifying gaps, second, formulating questions, and third is scope of review. So let's start with identifying gaps. This means looking at what's missing or not fully understood in the current research on a topic. What questions haven't been answered well? Where is there a lack of information or agreement? Then, in formulating questions, based on the gaps you identify, you need to create specific questions that your literature review will try to answer. These questions should be focused and guide your search for relevant studies. Then, in scope of review, this involves deciding how broad or narrow your literature review will be. What specific aspect of the topic will you focus on? What time period will you cover? What types of study will you include? I have an example here. So imagine you're interested in how video games affect kids. So in identifying gaps, you might notice that a lot of research talks about violence in games, but less about how games help with problem solving. So this is a potential gap. Then in formulating questions, based on that gap, your research question could be, what does the existing literature reveal about the impact of video games on children's problem-solving skills? Then, in scope of review, you might decide to only look at studies published in the last 10 years that specifically examine children aged 6 to 12 and focus on puzzle or strategy-based video games. Why is this step is important in crafting our literature reviews? Okay, so having a well-defined research question and scope keeps your literature review focused and manageable. It prevents you from getting overwhelmed by too much information and ensures you're addressing a specific issue within the existing research. It's the foundation upon which the rest of your literature review will be built. Now, let's proceed to step 2, identifying keywords and sources. This step is all about setting yourself up for successful research. It has 2 key parts. The first, finding the right words or keywords. Second, knowing where to look sources. So let's start with finding the right words. Think of keywords as the search terms you'll use to find information. To find the best article for your literature review, you need to figure out the most important words and phrases related to your topic. Why it matters? Good keywords help you find relevant information quickly and avoid getting lost in irrelevant results. How to do it simply? Okay, you need to brainstorm words related to your topic. Think of synonyms and different ways to say the same thing. For example, if your topic is about teens and online friends, keywords could be adolescents, social media relationships, online peer interaction, or etc. Then, knowing where to look. This means identifying the best places to find credible research on your topic. You want to look in places where experts share their findings. So, reliable sources ensure the information you use in your literature review is trustworthy. So where to look simply? Think of places like university library websites. They have access to many research articles, or Google Scholar, a search engine specifically for academic work. Then also in academic journals, magazine where researchers publish their work. Short, step 2 is about figuring out what words to search for and where the best information on your topic can be found. This step saves you time and helps you find high quality research for your literature review. Now, let's move on to step 3. Evaluating and selecting sources. Quality over quantity. So after you've found a bunch of potential sources using your keywords from step 2, this step is about being a detective and deciding which ones are actually good and useful for your literature review. It's about choosing quality information, not just grabbing everything you can find. So think of it like picking fruit. You wouldn't just grab every single piece of fruit in the store. You'd look for the ones that are ripe and the type you actually need for your recipe. So you have to evaluate. You're carefully looking at each source to judge how good it is. Ask yourself questions like, who wrote it? Are they expert in the field? What are their credentials? When was it published? Is it recent enough for your topic, or is older research still relevant? Where was it published? Is it from a reputable academic journal, a well-known book publisher, or a credible organization? What is the purpose? Is it to present research findings, review existing literature, or express an opinion? Is it supported by evidence? Does the author back up their claims with the data and proper citations? Or is it relevant to your research question? Does it actually address the specific questions you're trying to answer? Then you select. So based on your evaluation, you choose the sources that are the most relevant, credible, and high quality to include in your literature review. You might have to leave some sources out if they aren't strong enough or don't directly relate to your topic. So, why this step is important in crafting our literature review? Because using high-quality sources makes your literature review strong and believable. It shows that you're relying on solid research and expert knowledge. Focusing on quality over just having a lot of sources ensures your review is focused, insightful, and contribute meaningfully to your understanding of the topic. You want the best ingredients for your research recipe. Alright, so now let us go to step 4. Synthesizing information or connecting the dots. So after you've gathered and selected your good sources from 2 and 3, this step is about looking at them together to find a bigger picture. Instead of just talking about each study separately, you're trying to see how they relate to each other. Think of it like this. You've collected puzzle pieces, now you're trying to fit them together to see the overall image. So what are you going to do? First, identifying themes. Are there common ideas or topics that keep showing up in different studies? Then finding patterns. Do you notice any trends in the findings? For example, do studies using one method often show different results than those using another? Then, spotting agreements and disagreements. Do different studies say the same thing about your research question, or do they have different findings or opinion? Then, identifying gaps. What questions haven't been answered by the research you've read? What areas need more exploration? Then making connections. How do the different pieces of information relate to each other? Does one finding explain another? Does one theory support another? So this step is important because synthesizing information shows that you understand the research on a deeper level than just summarizing individual articles. It allows you to see the overall state of knowledge on your topic, identify what's well established, and highlight areas where more research is needed. You're not just listing what others have done, you're showing how it's all fit together. This leads to a more insightful and valuable literature review. And now let us move on to the last step, step 5, structuring your literature review. So this final step is about organizing all of the information you gathered. So structuring your literature review is like giving your reader a clear map of the research. You choose how to group the information by topic, trend, etc. This creates a logical flow, making it easy to understand what's known and where the gaps are. A good structure helps your reader follow your understanding of the research landscape. And overall, conducting a literature review using this 5-step guide empower you to move beyond simply reading sources. By defining your question, finding relevant information, evaluating its quality, connecting the dots, and structuring your findings, you build a strong foundation for your research. This systematic approach ensures you understand existing knowledge, identify gaps, and ultimately position your own work within a broader scholarly conversation. A well-executed literature review is not just a summary. It's a critical analysis that paves the way for meaningful contribution to your field. So I hope you learned something from my presentation, and that's all. Thank you.